to harden our grid throughout all of America to make it so that, like, let's say even an EMP could not affect us at all. To harden our grid, it would cost less money than the amount of aid we send typically on an annual basis to the country of Pakistan. And yet it's not being done. That makes you think, why don't they want it to be done? James Woolsey, I can't ever see his name right, the former director of CIA, he talks about how 2/3 of the U.S. population would likely perish from starvation, disease, and societal breakdown after 1 year after an EMP effect. Other experts estimate the likely loss to be closer to 90%. The EMP Commission found that it took just one low-yield nuclear detonation in the center of the country to knock out the entire U.S. electrical grid. Leon Panetta, the former director of the CIA, an aggressor nation or extremist group could use these kinds of cyber tools to gain control of critical switches. They could derail passenger trains, or even more dangerous, derail passenger trains loaded with lethal chemicals. They could contaminate the water supply in major cities or shut down the power grid across large parts of the country. Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, who was the executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security and the director of the U.S. Nuclear Strategy Forum, both congressional advisory boards, and served in the Congressional EMP Commission, said a year-long blackout would result from a nuclear EMP attack and could kill up to 9 of 10 Americans through starvation, disease, and societal collapse. Newt Gingrich, this could be the kind of catastrophe that ends civilization, and that's not an exaggeration. The reason I began focusing on this a decade ago is there are very few events you can't recover from. You can recover from a 9/11. You can recover, wow. You can, and I haven't read this quote I knew that this quote was good, but listen, we're saying, you can recover from 9/11. You can recover from Pearl Harbor. This is really different, Gingrich said. This creates such a collapse of our fundamental productive capacity that you could literally see a civilization crash and tear itself apart fighting internally.
And it wouldn't take much for this to happen. You've heard experts talk about how a rogue group, if they could get a hold of old nuclear technology and launch a nuclear weapon, I think it was 50 miles above America, and detonate it above America, the EMP that would generate would take out most of our grids.
No, it would take out all of it. The thing said all of it.
All of our grids. Or it could be something like a coronal mass ejection from the sun.
That's exactly right. And that's something else, is that I often wonder if this thing is going to happen. Like I said, I just don't like that they say imminent in 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's why we just have to remember as Christians that this world is not our home. We're pilgrims, making our pilgrimage from point A to point B. That's literally here on earth, and to get to heaven is take as many people as possible with us to heaven. That's our goal of this life, is to know God and to make him known.
Yeah.
Do not be fearful of these times. I say all these things, I'm not fearful, because I believe that whenever you do fear, that it's a clear indication that your eyes are not focused on Jesus. Whenever your eyes are focused on Jesus, you have no reason to fear. He holds your life in his hands. And if you live through this time and you continue to witness to your neighbors, then fantastic, do it. But if the Lord takes you home, then the Lord is sovereign. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But you're right. Talking about cyber attack, then we talked about EMP. The very same thing could happen from a coronal mass ejection, except for it would be an EMP for the entire world.
That's right.
The entire world. And if something like this happened, man, I'll tell you, there's going to be a false flag as well. They could detonate something, and, if it's detonated and there's over a country and there's no communication, no one will know what happened. No one will know what happened. So they could literally say, well, this was just it was a coronal mass ejection. I mean, literally, they could do anything they want. I'm just like, working through my thoughts out loud here, but there's going to be some type of false flag involved in this in some way. But a coronal mass ejection will have the same result as an EMP. The Carrington event of 1859 was a powerful geomagnetic storm on September 1st and September 2nd, 1859, during solar cycle 10. And it caused a solar coronal mass ejection Telegraph systems all over Europe and North America failed. Geomagnetic storm strength is measured in disturbance storm time, or DST. Ordinary storms which cause the northern lights to flare up but otherwise don't impact us register somewhere in the neighborhood of -50 NT, which stands for nanotesla, when the worst geomagnetic storm of the space age was in Quebec in March of 1989 and registered a -600 nanotesla. Modern estimates for the strength of the Carrington event was -800 to -1750 nanotesla. And scientists say that the Earth will be hit by a Class X CME like 1859 on average one time every 100 years.